Disclaimer, not an expert, take this with a grain of salt. The process is the process. It sucks and it's stressful, and yes, it's so fucking convoluted and difficult to maneuver that it will probably exacerbate your PTSD, depression, etc., possibly for years. But I'm pretty sure that they don't consider stressfully navigating the VA as grounds for increases. But just to be sure, make sure you tell your therapist all about it anyway. In theory, it should go into your file, someone will read it when they determine your value, and either you'll get an increase or you won't. For physical stuff, yes, your conditions will probably get worse while you wait for the VA to help. They will move slow, and since you will essentially go untreated while they sit on their hands, you will probably get worse before you get better. But on the bright side, it doesn't matter when you got worse. It only matters when the problem started, for service connection purposes. The downside, it's better to be healthy and have a lower rating than to get worse and get a higher rating later. Personally, a year and a half ago when I started with the VA, I only thought of killing myself occasionally. Now I think about it several times a day for prolonged periods. I'm buried in paperwork I don't understand. I'm too busy with VA bullshit to add school onto my plate. My arm has begun rotating out of place spontaneously. No diagnosis yet after over a year, and there's no end in sight. On the bright side, I did just get C&Ps scheduled for mental health and hearing, so I'll probably get my 10% token disability from those. The back pay from that would pay the last of my debt. I'm severely depressed that my prospects of connection for physical stuff are slim to none. Not complaining, this time, but just acknowledging that yeah, you're not the only one. As for where to go, have you been to patient advocacy? If not, that's probably your next step if you feel your doctors are fucking up. Have you been to the vet center? I haven't yet, but I just heard about them. They aren't connected to the VA, so you don't have to treat their therapists like mushrooms and guard your words around them. They also tend to have more availability, so you can talk to a therapist more than the once every month, 0.5 or 2 months that your local VA clinic will have available for you with their overworked staff. For advice, does your local VA clinic host a weekly VBA meeting? Mine does. It's basically a room full of vets who are covered in moss from waiting even longer than you, and some of them will have great advice. It's basically r/veterans benefits, but in a room full of people instead of the internet. VSO not helpful? Fire M and get a new one. You're allowed to do that. Hope some of this helps you. Some of it helped me kinda somewhat. And yes, I'm deliberately being encouraging and discouraging at the same time. It sucks and it's bullshit, but the silver lining could be some financial aid and therapy and medical coverage if you're persistent with it. I'd rather be honest with you than just give blind encouragement. This battle cost me a marriage and a couple of kids, but I've experienced a few moments of genuine care and empathy from some of the VA employees I've interacted with. So, in summary, 80/20ths pile of shit/pile of gold. Just work at it and the ratio will hopefully move more to the right side.